Welcome to the show that proves once again that America is the greatest country on the planet Earth, or at least in the top 3 in North America. It's the Mike Sasson Show, live on the River's Edge, listening live at www.riversedgepgh.com, or watching on Facebook Live, or listening again on TuneIn Radio, or you're listening on one of the several wonderful podcast formats the show becomes after the fact on Google Play, on SoundCloud, or on iTunes. Today, we're going to be talking about The Beard is Back. You all requested it. We'll discuss whether it made me look better, worse, or indifferent. Also, we'll be talking about what to do, ladies, if you find me attractive while I'm on stage as a stand-up comedian. I have come up with a system. Also, we're going to be talking bar thoughts and experiences with Alex. Alex had a wonderful weekend with her family, and she's going to be discussing that. Also, got my top five takes. It's going to be talking about the fact that The Rock keeps on making crap-ass movies, and I can't even make one crap-ass movie. I can't even make one movie about the killer robot dinosaurs, which is my pet project. Also, we'll be talking the big question, which talks about the fact, would you want to be God? Also, JFK, his weird sexual practices after his 100th birthday, which would have been yesterday. Again, my name is Mike Sasson. I am your hostess with the mostest, and that over there is the greatest producer in the history of internet radio, statistically proven, Alex Clemens. How you doing, Alex?
Oh, I'm doing wonderfully. How are you, Mike?
I'm doing pretty well. Did you enjoy your Memorial Day? It's the day after Memorial Day.
I worked on Memorial Day.
Well, that's what you should do on Memorial Day.
Right.
To honor the troops, to honor the men and women who have lost their lives, to protect our freedom, is make some cold hard cash. That's how you do it. That's wonder. How was business on Memorial Day?
It was actually good.
There you
I
go.
thought everyone would be having picnics and stuff, enjoying the weather. Nope. People wanted to be inside buying t-shirts, so.
Well, that's, you know what? And there's nothing more American than buying stuff and wearing t-shirts. Now, you're near the Pirates,
Yes.
so I assume, well, obviously, number one, big Penguin game yesterday.
Yeah, so that helped out.
And then, obviously, the Pirates played at 4, so you had a lot
No,
of
I
activity.
really cared about the Pirates yesterday.
Well, good for them. But a lot of stuff on the Penguins, everything like that. Obviously, it's the day after Game 1. The Penguins won 5-3, so the city of Pittsburgh gave a giant exhale after losing that 3-0 lead.
Woo!
So we'll see. That is the most excited Alex has ever been for a sporting event.
People get really mad at me in the store when they're like, "Go Pens!" And I'm like, "Woo!" And they're like, "No, that's not
wasn't
how
good
you
enough?
should be cheering for them. No, it's not good enough. It's not manly enough. I don't think. I think that's what it is. I'm not sure. I just know they don't like it."
I do believe that there is something kind of psychologically wrong with you if you take sports, not you.
Oh, I was gonna say, geez.
I mean, there
thanks.
is something psychologically wrong with you, but we're going to get there.
All right. Look who's talking here.
But in general, I think there's something psychologically wrong with you if you take sporting events too seriously. If you sit there and like you get emotionally just insanely mad about like and physically like combative because of a sporting event, you suffer from arrested development.
Like you fight the other people in the arena because.
Yeah. If you get into physical confrontations, which I have seen, especially when I've visited other cities and I've been like, a Steeler fan or a Pirate fan, and there's been just like fist fights, and you spend a night in jail because somebody liked a group of millionaires more than your group of millionaires, then yeah, you got an emotional problem. I told this story on an earlier show, but this was last year during the Stanley Cup playoffs. I think it was the series against Tampa Bay. So it was the series before the Stanley Cup Finals. And we were sitting in Hambones, which has some great open mics for comedy if you ever wanted to take part in comedy. So this was a Thursday open mic, and we were waiting for the end of the game to start our open mic. So we're watching this, and I'm around a bunch of comics, and I'm a big sports fan, and most of the comics are in and out in terms of sports. They actually like wrestling more than anything else.
Yeah.
And so we're sitting there, and we're like mock cheering. We're like, "Woo, go sports! Woo, go championships! Woo, go this!" And the Penguins lost the lead.
Yeah.
And so they saw us mocking this and everything like that. And this guy walks over to the group of comics, points his finger at me, and says, "If the Penguins lose this game, it's on you." And I was just like,
Because that's just the truth.
yeah,
That's a fact. That's what will happen.
I was sitting there going, I would love to have that kind of power. Like if I found that I had the power to influence the world in that way to where I could decide whether the Penguins or the Pirates or the Steelers could win or lose, that would be an incredible, like a magical force that I would really embrace. But the Penguins eventually did win the game, and then he didn't come back to me and go, hey, good job, Mike, since that's obviously your force as well.
Yeah.
But, you know, again,
What are you gonna do?
What are you going to do? As I mentioned last week, we were talking about Alex's wonderful hair. It's week 2 of Blonde Alex. And how is Blonde Alex doing?
It's not like I was not that blonde before.
Yeah.
It's not really that much different.
Really?
No one cares.
No one cares?
No one tells me.
No one sits
No
there.
one says anything about
Are
it.
you having more fun? You know, whatever. Anyways.
Nope.
Nope, not at all. Anyways, so last week we discussed, because obviously this is the Mike Sasson Show, so we like, hey, Alex, you had wonderful hair experience. Let's talk about my hair experience. Still have not decided what to do with the hair, but one thing that did come up was that you love guys with beards. And so you sat there and said, hey, Mike, one thing that could improve your face is covering it up with hair.
Yeah.
Then a lot of people went on the Facebook Live and chirped in and said, yeah, Mike, that would be a great idea if you did that. And so I was like, I made the announcement. I said, you know what? Next week, I'm not going to shave for this week, and I'm going to come back with a beard and see how it looks. And then when I left the studio, I was like, you know what? Who cares? You know, I might do it. I might not do it. I wasn't really committed to it. But then after the show,
you said it though.
I did.
Live, so you had to do it.
well, I mean, it's not legally binding, but
It is.
the one thing that kind of struck me, I understand that you could have brought a suit against me, but one thing that did get, I have a super fan who's been at a lot of my shows, Lisa Winwood. She likes the show, and I appreciate her greatly. She loves Alex, and
Obviously.
so show her quote. This is the one that kind of pushed me over the edge. Basically, she goes, Mike, I think you're perfect in every way, but if I had a vote, I'd say go with the beard. And
Actually said you're perfect just the way you are.
yes,
Just.
yeah. And I think she was making
I would
fun.
just vote to bring back the beard.
And that's at the moment where she goes, wait a minute, if my super fan thinks you're perfect, but to add on to said perfection, a beard would help.
Oh, so it's not enough that I say it and I vote for it.
Uh-huh.
It's someone else has to say it too. That's the only reason you did it was because of her.
I believe that pushed me over
That
the edge.
seems kind of mean to me.
You started the ball
That
rolling.
my opinion is not just good enough by itself.
I think that your opinion got the ball rolling, and then ultimately that was the one that pushed it over the edge. Because here's the thing about you and your opinion of my appearance. You make a point, probably weekly when you see me, to really ridicule me and really go after me and say, Mike, anything that you're doing right now in terms of what you look like, do the opposite. And so, like, I take that with a grain of salt. But when superfan Lisa Winwood sits there and says, Mike, I really do think the beard needs to, that's what really got me over the edge to say, hey, let's do the beard. So right now on Facebook Live, if you're watching or if you watch after the fact or anything like that, give the opinion of the face. Because personally, like people have talked about.
Let's talk about Mike's face more. Mike's
Yes.
just a little scared because when people come up to him all the time when he's at shows and stuff, they talk about me a lot
They
and
do.
how they like me.
They
So
do
he's
a
just
lot.
he's just really trying to steer the whole show back towards him. Because I mean, it's named after him after all.
No, that is typically what happens is people go, hey, Mike, I watched the show. God, I love Alex.
I'll start wearing a mask of your face from now on.
Would you really do that?
Yeah, so it'll just be the Mike Sasson Show.
Just be the, that's
Oh,
right.
you don't even say my name. You just say I'm like Mike Sasson #2.
Mike Sasson #2. Mike Sasson the sequel. Anyway, so we'll go from there. Now, here's the thing. I made a list, and I want you to comment on this list. This is a list of pros and cons of keeping the beard. Okay?
Okay, I want to
Okay.
do the pros first.
Okay, pros. It does save a little time
Obviously.
because I don't have to shave. Another pro, it covers up my face.
Yes.
So that helps. And And also, I think if done properly, it does make my face look a little more squarer and a little thinner and stuff like that. A little bit.
You want your face to look more square?
I want it to look less chubby. Now here, and also, women seem to not find it overly offensive. They find it okay.
They find your regular face offensive.
Yeah,
is
they
what you're
hate
saying?
it. Oh my God. I get women just, most of my shirt is just, I have to remove shirts because it's just a vomit because they just sit there and go, blah, you know. Now,
I can't believe that one.
hey, you've seen it. Now, the reasons why I don't like it. Number one, it kind of does seem unprofessional.
No.
I've been in sales and, you know, sometimes, now that's changing. There's a lot more professionals that do have the beard. It's kind of like when they eventually do make the, you know, the nostalgic TV show about the 2000 teens, like they have the one about the 2000s and the 90s and the 80s. They always do that show where they look back and they go, oh, remember everything was simpler. When they do the show about now, like 10, 15 years ago from now, the main male character will have a beard. That will be like the symbol, like they have the 70s porn stash. This will be the look of 2000, like 15, 16, 17.
Hopefully it's coming back.
Yeah.
So one time when I was in the mayor's office, if you go like down the hallway from it, they have all of the pictures of the mayors on the wall.
Yeah.
And you see a point, it's like beards, 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 beards. And then it just like cuts off. And from there to now, not one of the mayors has had a beard.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just sad.
It's the same thing with presidents. Most presidents had beards up until like the early 1900s.
So like, why can't we bring that back? We thought they were professional and like very manly and in power and stuff with their beard. So why can't we think that now?
I don't know. Comment if you like the beard. Again, if you like the beard, if you don't like the beard, if you want it shaved.
Tell him like he's pretty so we could stop talking about his looks.
Tell
Please.
tell me I'm pretty. Anyways, and
wait,
go ahead.
Was there any other cons to it?
Yeah, it can get kind of hot.
Oh,
That's the only
you can
thing.
deal with that. You
Yeah.
already sweat enough, so
Yeah.
I feel like really what's a little more?
What's more ruined shirts?
Maybe shave some of the head or shave some of the head off.
Shave some of that.
Just
If I could
take
do
some
that,
of your head off.
if I could pull that off, yeah, absolutely.
If you get rid of a little bit of your hair on top of your head,
Mhm.
maybe that'll make it cooler and allow you to have a beard.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it.
Maybe that's the answer. That's the Alex's new segment is that's the answer. Now, moving on to what I talked about before the show about what is the process by which if you do find me attractive. Now, this came up in a show. So this past week, I did a show with the great Ray Zawatny. All right, it was me and him, two-man show. He went up first, did about a half hour, did great. I went up afterwards, did pretty well. Now, I'll be honest, this show was on the South Side. It was filled with a lot of younger people, a lot of really attractive women, so I actually tried. And so I'm doing my show, I'm doing well, I'm having all that kind of stuff. After the show, I come up to Ray and we kind of commiserate and we sit there and say, hey, that went well, this didn't go well, you know, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And I made the comment, I go, and you know what? There was a lot of,
Hot babes.
there's a lot. I didn't use those words, but I said, there's a lot of attractive women, and I was very happy about that fact. And he goes, oh yeah, that girl over there, I was overhearing her talking to her friend. She goes, I don't know what you think, but I actually think that comic is pretty hot.
To you?
To me.
What's happening to the world?
I don't know. She must have
she was pretty hot.
She was attractive. And so I was kind of pissed because I told Ray, I was like, well, why didn't you tell me?
Oh, wait, he didn't tell you until afterwards?
Yeah.
Until after she was gone?
Yeah.
How rude.
I know. And so I was
He just didn't.
I know.
He didn't want you to get any.
I think, to be honest with you, he was disbelieving it for a point.
He was definitely jealous.
Yeah, I would say so. Anyway, so the thing about it is I said to him, I go, well, why didn't you tell me? And he goes, well, what was I supposed to do? It was in the middle of the show. What would you have done with this information? And I
Talk about it on stage.
I would have sat there and went, no, here's what I said. I'd have ended the show. If there's a woman in the audience who I find attractive, that finds me attractive and wants to like go grab a beer or something like that, show's over. I'm not going the extra 20 minutes. If we've already accomplished what I'm said to accomplish.
Were you getting paid for this?
No.
Okay. Then yes, I agree.
Yeah.
If you were getting paid, I'd say it would be a little different, but because that's just rude.
Well, I mean, here's the
unprofessional.
thing. Even if I was getting paid and the woman was attractive enough, I'd have said, keep your money, I'm out of here. But so I've come up with a system. It's for any ladies that do find me attractive while watching me doing comedy. First step.
Or just anywhere?
You know what? This could be used anywhere.
Okay.
But I'll be honest with you. Most of the time, the only time women actually have to look at me is during stand-up comedy.
Okay.
Other places, they can kind of ignore me and pretend like I'm a pillar. Anyways, so first step, find me attractive. Second step, raise your hand. Point at the door. At which point I will make a determination on whether you were one of the probably 3 to 5 women in the audience in which I will say I will end the show with. Now, if I continue the show, maybe snap a few times. Maybe I didn't see.
You want people to snap at you while you're
Yeah.
doing your show.
Absolutely.
That seems annoying.
Yeah, but only like once or twice. Just go boom, boom. And now, if at that point I keep going, let's be honest, you were one of the 3 to 5 women that I said I'm going to continue with the show with. So here would be my thing. Just pretend you were stretching.
I would feel terrible.
Why?
If I was one of these women and I did that to you and you didn't stop the show, I'd be like, well, I would literally just walk out. All right. If Mike doesn't find me attractive, I don't know.
But you
I
might
don't know
find...
what I'm doing with my life. I should just leave.
I should leave the earth. I should join the convent. But
by the way, my mom says that she likes the beard.
Okay, that's one vote for the beard. Good job. Thank you very much, Ms. Clemens.
I mean, I think that me and my mom's opinions are probably
the expert opinions.
They should be highest on your radar.
I agree with that. Okay, so that's one vote for the beard. Actually, let's count those as 3 votes for the beard.
She did say it was like a slimming effect.
See,
so.
I told you it was a
go.
slimming effect. That and the heat in the sweat box we're in right now will probably help out.
I'm fine over here.
I know you're. Every person that I ever deal with, especially women, they're always like, "I'm cold. Let's turn on." The...
I could have turned the heater on.
I know, and I'm just like I'm entering into the part of the year in which I am just a glistening ball of sweat. From now until about the middle of September, all I do is just try to dry off. That's all I do for the rest of my life. But it's just being a big dude. It's what it is. Anytime anybody comes into my car, that's one of the things with, if I ever get my own show, like if I ever get my own talk show or anything like that, one thing I read about David Letterman is he kept his studio at 45 degrees.
You already have your own show.
But I need one with an air conditioning budget to where I could make this into the tundra. I would want to make this so cold. And then I'd blame it on the lights. That's what he did. He'd always say, well, we have to keep it cool because, there's, the lights and it makes it a little whatever, which is true. In a TV studio, you're supposed to keep you're supposed to keep everything.
The control room.
Yeah. No,
Not
the whole.
necessarily.
No, the Mike Sasson Show talk show in a TV format would be so ice cold. That would be something that would become famous.
And you won't have any women working for you.
Yes, they would. They would just wear sweaters. They would just wear festive sweaters.
Just wear sweaters.
They would just wear festive sweaters. So again, that is the process by which, if you do find me attractive, raise the hand, point at the door, and if I don't immediately respond, then just pretend you're stretching. So remember that as we take a break right now. When we come back, we will dive into the fertile mind of Alex Clemens.
Ew.
Why is that ew?
I don't know, because you said fertile, and it just is weird.
Fertile means it grows.
I know, but it just sounded gross.
Well, we'll try to sound less gross. Coming up, it's Bar Thoughts and Experiences on The Mike Sasson Show. You're listening to The River's Edge. We'll be right back.
Hey, listen up for some sweet pizza discounts. The River's Edge is partnering with Frank's Pizza and Chicken to offer you 10% off your ZA. That's short for pizza.
Seriously? ZA?
What?
Anyway, mention you heard this ad and Frank's will give you 10% off your order of $15 or more.
Oh my god, have you tried their famous buffalo chicken pizza?
Oh, don't even get me started. Can you name all 4 Frank's locations?
Millville, obviously. Troy Hill, Shaler, and North Hills.
Gold Star. Anyway, support the River's Edge Radio Network by ordering from Frank's Pizza and Chicken the next time you get hungry for some ZA. And don't forget to mention you heard this ad so you get your 10% off. Go to frankspizzachicken.com for more info.
Offer good for a limited time. Order must be $15 or more before taxes. Cannot be combined with other discounts or offers, other legal jargon and whatnot.
Hi, I'm Mike Storr, host of The Awesome Cast, which you can hear right here on River's Edge Radio. We're talking tech, getting geeky every week with people from Pittsburgh in the industry. Go check us out, awesomecast.net, or listen to us right here on River's Edge Radio, Thursday mornings, 8 a.m. after Funny Money.
We are back. It's the Mike Sasson Show live on the River's Edge. You're listening at www.riversedgepgh.com or on TuneIn Radio, or you're watching right now live on Facebook Live, or you're listening after the fact on SoundCloud, iTunes, or Google Play. Again, my name is Michael Sasson. That is producer extraordinaire Alex Clemens. Every week.
What's up?
Every week. That's how she
stop
is.
talking, Mike.
That's how she is. She just, wants to know what's up. But you know what's up with her? She drinks. And after that, she has deep thoughts about the universe. She doesn't keep them to herself. She shares them. It's the type of woman she is, which is why we let her have a segment of her own called Bar Thoughts and Experiences with Alex. Play your theme song.
Okay.
Maybe y'all can relate. My style's dope any way that you slice it. It's a fresh cut, hope that you like it. About to open up a can of some cancer. When it come to pizza, I've got high standards.
Sounds like we're like in a car outside and we're just like bumping, one
I
of
would
those
agree with
ones
that.
that bounces up and down.
This is a great song. Who is it again?
It's Left Field.
Left Field with...
Eventually you'll know this and you can say it.
Well,
The song is called Support Real Pizza.
There you go. Support his song or support local music. Go ahead, Alex.
And Real Pizza.
Yeah, absolutely.
So my thought this week, so yesterday I got home from work and I decided that instead of watching the Pens game, because why would I do that? I was going to sit outside. I enjoyed the sunset, had a nice glass of wine, a very unhealthy meal, and it was great. Watched some TV, relax. It was wonderful. And meanwhile, all of my roommates were watching the Pens game. And I figured out the reason why I don't watch sports.
Okay.
One of the reasons. Probably
reasons.
the biggest reasons.
Okay.
Mainly because I don't understand why you would ever choose to have anxiety about someone else's success. I understand it in my terms, like I'll have anxiety and stress about me succeeding in life. But to have that about someone you don't know, their success, just feels weird to me.
Well,
I'd rather not have that.
one of
in
the
my
weird
life.
things about sports, and something that if you were to do a study of, is the first and foremost, the most brilliant thing they ever did was they name them the Pittsburgh blank or whatever, the New York blank, the
Right.
Boston blank. So that becomes a tribal thing in
A
a
part
sense
of
that,
you.
yeah, it becomes like, hey, I'm from Western Pennsylvania. I'm from Pittsburgh. I identify with this city, this team. So these guys are my soldiers going off representing me. And so when they succeed, I hence succeed. So when I go to Chicago, I go to New York, because one thing you do find when you do travel and you mention you're from Pittsburgh, the first thing they mention is
your sports teams.
Yeah, the sports teams. That's
Yeah.
just the thing that people talk about. So you want them to be successful because hence you're successful, because the opposite is you're Cleveland and they have issues.
And then people hate you.
And,
but
well, they don't. They just kind of feel bad for you. They don't. They hate you if you're more from Pittsburgh, because if they sit there and they say, "Oh, I'm a diehard Ranger fan. I hate Sidney Crosby," but then you feel superior because you're like, "Yeah, your team sucks." Go ahead.
But I decided that we would all be happier in our lives if we cheered on successful people like we do the successful people that are in sports. So if you were like at work one day and you just got the promotion that you have been working for just forever, and you walk out of work and everyone on the street is just cheering for you, and like the guy from the coffee shop has a shirt on with your last name on it, like how good would you feel? And how like everyone would feel good, because they
Yes.
get to do the same thing that you were just talking about. They get to experience that person's success, and it in turn makes them feel successful.
Now, one thing that I do.
Oh, wow.
Did it again. See, the comedy just flows
Crappy
out of
really
me.
appreciated that one.
Well, all this show is just to try to appreciate and get Crappy on my side. Anyways, I do find joy in success for businesses based out of Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, if I find out that PNC Bank bought another bank and it's become a bigger bank, like, I take pride in the fact that I've watched PNC Bank become one of the biggest retail banks. I'm excited when Giant Eagle, expands into another market. I'm
Right.
excited that Howard Hanna bought like a Cleveland-based thing. Like, I remember reading an article in Cleveland that we were talking about the number one bank is PNC, the number one supermarket is Giant Eagle. We're being taken over by Pittsburgh, and I'm like, you're right, you are, you little losers. So there is a little bit of that to where you do take a little
Right.
bit of pride. And also I do take pride in the fact of, like, if Michael Keaton gets a good role or something like that, or if,
Yeah.
so.
But I think if we do this even more in our lives and to strangers, like to just strangers, because we do that with sports. These people, we have no idea who they are. Like, you may have met them or something, but we don't really know them. They're still strangers to us. If we did that with all the other strangers in the world, I think everyone would just be happier.
But let me ask you this question. What happens if, let's say, for instance, you do get the promotion, but someone else in the city didn't hence get the promotion? So let's say, for instance, someone has the Alex Clemens shirt on saying, yay, Alex got the promotion.
Yeah.
But the person that didn't get the promotion, who also lives in the city, now has to go to the coffee shop and be reminded that, hey, I didn't get the promotion because the Alex Clemens
That's just
shirt.
like sports players. They have to be reminded. They don't get a parade thrown for them because they lost.
But I mean, most of the time, like, you typically, I mean, especially in Pittsburgh, it doesn't happen. It happens in other cities where there's more transplanted people. I guess that if you're like if I'll use again New York as an instance, because to be honest with you, they're terrible sports fans up there. But the thing is, like, you will walk in if you're a New York Met and someone's wearing like a Yankee jersey and goes, yeah, Mets suck and something like that. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think I like the concept of being a cheerleader for other people's success. Because one thing, especially in the comedy game, is I don't cheer against other people. Like, I don't sit there and say, oh, XYZ comic got this show.
Yeah.
I hate that guy. Or, like, for another instances, there's been a lot of comedians that have gotten their own internet radio shows over the past couple months.
Yeah.
That have followed after us, and I appreciate them, and I want them to have unbelievable success, and I want you to watch all of their shows. And I've been guests on their shows. I've done, and they have been they've been guests on my shows and everything like that. And I want them to be because at the end of the day, because you watch someone else's show, because you watch the Mike Wysocki show or Matt Light show or Ed
Right.
Bailey and Dave Bracey's podcast, or you listen to whatever, it doesn't mean that you don't like mine. I want you to watch all of ours and not watch the comics from Philadelphia. That's what I really want you to do.
I don't
is
know.
that-
I
but-
think the whole main concept is you should just be nice to other people.
I would say
And maybe don't take sports so seriously.
Now, was there any time in your life in which you did, because you weren't a fan of the Steelers a little bit when the glorious Deuce Staley
Yeah.
era was in Pittsburgh?
That's because I didn't realize what was happening to my life at that point.
Oh, okay.
I didn't realize how it was affecting me.
One thing about sports, though, you're never as big a sports fan as you are when you're like 12 years old. That's the point where you are the biggest sports fan.
I think it's because you don't really have anything of your own yet. You don't have as much of your own identity. So, like, that gives you something. Like, that gives you a little part of your identity.
Now, another thing, though,
I'm a
is
sports fan.
since I've started comedy, I have become less and less a sports fan because I have more of my own thing going. So this whole idea, if you're a huge sports fan, you're kind of saying to other people, I got nothing in my own life to cheer for, is kind of true.
Yeah.
Like, I do find it a little weird when you do go into somebody's basement and they have pictures of Troy Polamalu like he's one of his kids. Like they
and then no pictures of their kids.
yeah, like they like, oh yeah, the greatest moment of my life was when Troy Polamalu intercepted that ball against Baltimore. And I'm like, not when your kid was born. Like, no, that was a terrible day. That ruined my life. But I find that a little weird, and that has changed my life in a sense of I'm not as huge. Like yesterday, I did go to a couple bars and watch the Penguin game, and I was excited when they scored, but they were guys that were like, jumping up and down like insane when the Penguins would score.
Yeah.
And I was kidding there going, you know what, chill out. You really didn't, I haven't gotten my Penguins win the Stanley Cup check in the mail yet.
Yes.
So if that's what happened, if the Pens win the Stanley Cup, we all get like a $500 bonus, then absolutely I'd be all over it. Now, another thing that I always love about sports is when people assume that the athletes, because they do know this and they do say this because they know it kind of butters up the crowd. It's like when a comic kind of goes, hey, it's great to be in Butler, Pennsylvania, even though no one ever really means that.
Yeah.
Anyways, when they sit there and they, you know what, we're fighting for the city. We really believe in it. We love this city. We want to see this city succeed. And it's like, you know what? You're a paid guy. You were drafted here. You were forced to be here. The only reason you're here is because this was the best deal financially for you, which really is the only reason why any of us should be here. Like, if you live in Pittsburgh, you should live in Pittsburgh because economically or lifestyle-wise, it gives you the best lifestyle. It's not like if somehow, like if a firm in Chicago were to offer you double your salary, you'd be like, you know what? I'm really loyal to the city of Pittsburgh. No, you go move to Chicago.
I met a person like that yesterday, though. Like super diehard Penguins fan. She lived in Oregon and she moved to Pittsburgh like last week so she could be closer to her favorite hockey team.
You know what? That's someone that
She's like diehard, which okay.
Well, I mean, if that's what fills your life with joy,
Then
then
you
go
do it.
ahead. That's
Whatever makes you happy.
Being a diehard sports fan is almost at this point very similar to me. I view you same as if like I find out you're ultra religious. Like if you find joy in that and that gives you peace and that's just something you do in your life, wonderful.
Yeah.
Just don't tell me about it.
Right.
That was Alex Clemens, Bar Thoughts and Experiences.
We have some comments.
Okay.
Mark Heckman, great dude. He asked where Max is. Max isn't here. I don't know where he is.
Okay. Thank you for that comment.
Chris Starr. He spells his name strangely.
Okay.
Chris Starr. Hold on. Get away, Facebook. He said, well, I remember all the women at CSB. I'm assuming he means CBS.
No, CSB, Connecticut School of Broadcasting.
Oh, that makes
we were
sense.
students together.
He remembers when all the women at CSB thought that Mike was stunning. He said stunning.
I was.
That's pretty intense to say someone is stunning. Like, I don't use that word for a lot of people. Wow, Mike.
I use it for myself on a regular basis. One thing that I remember about Connecticut School of Broadcasting that I was very proud of is we were supposed to do like a mock television show. And I made a character up, which was like this right-wing, like Rush Limbaugh type. And at the time, I was like as chubby as Rush Limbaugh. Like I was insanely fat. It was called The Right Way. And I came up with this, like, it was so over the top, but it was so well done that in subsequent classes, I was told by the teachers, they showed the show, like my project, to the other like, this is what you want the project to look like. And the biggest thing that it was the biggest compliment I got was for, people would say, you know what? I don't agree with anything he's saying right now, but I totally want to keep watching this show. I thought that was like my shining moment for Connecticut School of Broadcasting.
Everything after that was downhill.
Well, eventually the school closed, and they left everyone holding the bag, and that was kind of sad. But moving on.
Oh well. Last comment is from Jason Clark. He said, "Goddamn, Ray Zawadney strikes again."
Yeah, he ruining life, Jason. That's what he does. But Ray Zawadney, great comic. If you want to see him, he's like my son. He looks a lot like. Actually, I don't think he looks like my son. I think he looks a lot like if I had a little brother, who wasn't really.
You do have a little brother.
I do. I have 3. But one thing, like if I had another little brother that wasn't into physical fitness, that would be Ray Zawadney. Moving on to my segment, which is kind of like Bar Thoughts and Experiences, but again, I do them sober, so it kind of shows that I'm a little bit weirder than Alex. It's called 5 Takes. It has its own theme song. Hail Satan. That's what I think
Maybe
the lyrics
don't
would
say
be.
Hail Satan on the show.
Okay. Note for the show, please do not hail the Dark One. Okay, 5 takes. First take. Boy, does The Rock suck. I was thinking about this earlier today because over the weekend, Baywatch came out. It's a complete piece of shit movie. It made...
Wait, did you watch it?
It got 19 on.
Did you watch it?
No.
Okay, so you can't really say it's a piece
I
of shit
can
movie.
pretty well. When you get like 18 on Rotten Tomatoes,
Oh, Rotten Tomatoes doesn't mean shit.
it's all the critics.
That's stupid. That's a stupid way to base movies off of.
I would say it's a pretty good consensus if a movie is a piece of dog crap.
Most of the movies I like, everyone says that they're shit.
What is a one movie that you feel that is wonderful that everyone says is pure shit?
I don't know.
You can't back up a statement like that and have nothing.
Well, I don't look at Rotten Tomatoes reviews because I think they're stupid.
But that's all of the critics
Yeah,
combined.
but like, who are those people?
They're the people that get paid by, people to watch movies.
If there was all of these critics saying that the Steelers were shit and they're just random people, you have no idea what their credentials are, like who they are, and they just said that the Steelers were shit, would you start thinking that the Steelers were shit?
If it was if they got all of the like pro football writers together and they sat there and they voted for like which team was pure shit, and they all and they made a statistic that like, okay, out of the 32 head writers, 30 of them said the Steelers were shit, I would be like, okay, there's a pretty good chance that maybe I shouldn't buy season tickets this year. But again,
I think it's stupid. I think that you should probably base it off of you watching it.
But I can't
instead.
watch every movie.
Well, then maybe you shouldn't say every movie's shit.
I don't think every movie's shit. Goodfellas is good. That's why but The Rock, he sucks, and I want him to stop making movies. Because I have watched Rock movies, and I should be a huge fan of Dwayne Johnson.
Why?
So I'm a huge fan of Schwarzenegger. I'm a huge fan of Stallone. I'm a huge fan of like action movies. This guy makes mostly action movies, and every one of these movies I've ever seen him in, I'm like, this is pure shit.
I don't like the action movies that he's in.
You
I
like
the
the
ones
Disney,
where he's like,
you like the Disney movies?
yeah,
and
he's
stuff?
like a soft and sensitive one.
I don't like that. I want him to make more like ass beater movies. I want him to make
But
like
you said that they
Cologne
weren't
too.
good.
I know, but I want him to make like good ass beater movies. I think he has the reason why I'm saying this is, Dwayne, I think you have it in you to start making some quality ass kicker movies, but you're not doing it, and it's starting to piss me off. So that's my first take. 2, I say this as a stand-up comedian. Stand-up comedians are the last rock stars. So many articles in Rolling Stone about like Chris Rock and Amy Schumer and Louis C.K. and all these kind of stuff. It brings to the point that there's nobody right now that has been developed over the last 10 years that is like a universally acknowledged badass rock star. There's not. There's a lot of people that become moguls. There's a lot of people that have become popular, but there's no, Mick Jaggers. There's no Robert Plants. There's no even Axl Roses. There's nobody that's like a dangerous, like lives life exactly how they want to live. Stand-up comics, I think, have that's why a lot of people sit there and say, like, are we getting into a glut? We're almost getting into a point to where, like, the media is making Dave Chappelle into a rock star, where they're making Amy Schumer into somebody that's just like, she runs by her own rules and all this other kind of stuff, which is why there's so many more specials and there's so much being asked of these people, is because to a lot of people, these people symbolize freedom. These people symbolize saying what you want and screwing PC culture and tell everybody how, how many times I've been late and all this kind of stuff. They live the life that all of us want to live, which is why they're rock stars, which is why I say right now, stand-up comedians are the new rock stars. Go ahead.
I think you just want to consider yourself a rock star. Is that
I
what
am,
this is?
no, what I am is basically, I'm the kid in the garage trying to learn his musical instrument to eventually become the rock star.
Okay.
That's what I am right now.
Michael Joby agrees with me that Rotten Tomatoes equals trash.
I don't know if he's
So.
I don't know if he's allowed to watch the show anymore. No,
You're allowed.
I know. Number 3, nothing is mandatory. I've thought about this story the other day because someone was telling me, says, Mike, maybe you should tell some more stories about like your days playing football in your stand-up. Alex says, nope, avoid it completely.
Yep.
But one time I was with my strength coach when I was in college, and it technically was illegal over the summer to make lifting, quote unquote, mandatory.
Okay.
So one of the ways that you're not supposed to do that is you're not supposed to take roll. You're not supposed to take attendance.
Okay.
Well, I saw that he was taking attendance. And so I made the comment, I go, well, technically you're breaking the rules, coach, because, you know, you're making this mandatory. He goes, well, first off, I don't like reprimand anybody. I just kind of like report to the coaches if XYZ is showing up. But he goes, but remember, Mike, nobody's forcing you to be here. Nothing in this life is actually mandatory.
That's like my brother's favorite quote. When he was younger, like, and my parents would tell him to do something, he was like, I don't have to do anything.
You're
That
right.
was his favorite quote to use.
Yes.
Of all time.
Louis C.K. in his new special kind of brings up a similar quote where he talks about, like, you know what? You don't have to go to work tomorrow. You could just kill yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there's nothing that
You
is
don't have to do
mandatory.
anything.
You don't have to do anything. You can go live under a bridge in Pass. If you don't want to go to work tomorrow, you can just not go. Eventually, they'll fire you. Eventually, you'll be evicted from your house.
And then you don't have to do anything ever again.
There is a point where I do kind of like feel, obviously a lot of them have like mental illness and I feel bad about that. But when I do meet, like when I see like a homeless guy just walking the streets, I do kind of sit there and go, you know what? To have that kind of freedom to where like you just wake up and you're like, I don't have to be anywhere.
Yeah, what am I going to do today? I'm
Yeah,
just going to stay outside.
I'm just going to sit outside and
Enjoy
just
the
walk
sunshine,
around.
talk to my friends.
Yeah, exactly. There are parts to homelessness that I would say are appealing. So that's one of the things. Nothing is mandatory. Now, this is, again, a personal crusade. If you're going to charge me $15 for a hamburger, it better be 3 times as good as a $5 hamburger. One thing you're starting to see all over the place is these kind of quote unquote, like, you know, high-end burger places.
Yeah.
You know, where you know, they sit there and they go, ooh, it's got these toppings and all this kind of stuff. All I know is I can get a $5 burger at a Wendy's or a Burger King or a McDonald's that I have been very happy with most of my life. If you're going to charge me $15 for a burger and fries, and I know for a fact I could get like a double cheeseburger at McDonald's for like $1.29, this burger better just blow my mind. I better take like 2 or 3 bites and have to put it down and be like, holy shit. That was the greatest experience of my life. This is totally worth $15. That's one thing. And maybe it's because my palate isn't refined enough. Like when people sit there and they talk about like, oh, I just had this wonderful cup of coffee. And I'm like, okay, is it that much better than the Sunoco brand coffee?
Yeah.
Is it so much better that I have to pay $5 a cup for it? And 99% of the time, I'm like, nope.
I actually agree with you on this one.
The first time, I think, in the
Yeah.
history of the show, you kind of agree with me
I
on
agree
this.
with you, yes.
Have you ever had a meal where it's like, okay, this is super expensive? Now, I understand like a steak, because there's typically like, you know, if there's cheap steak, it's like whatever. But like normal stuff, pizza, hamburgers.
I
all
did
kind
have
of
a
stuff.
burger a little while ago at this place near Market Square. It's called Revel and Roost.
Okay.
And they have this Revel burger.
Okay.
It was $14. Doesn't come with any sides.
Okay.
But it was delicious. It was a burger. It had braised short rib and bacon inside of the burger. What?
That is pretty good.
Yeah, and there was just delicious stuff on top of it. It was a very good burger, and I was okay with paying $14 for it. And it came to me super fast, so it was basically just like me getting fast food. It was like I didn't even take a sip of my drink before I got my food.
Now, here's the thing. How many times have you had the $14 burger and it hasn't worked out? Like you've been like, okay, that's fine.
I went to BRGR like twice, and both the times I went there, I was like, not worth it.
Like, I mean, you're like, good burger.
Yeah, but I could make this, or I could get it somewhere else for cheaper.
That's what, like we were talking about yesterday, like Chipotle. Like for somehow, some way in my adult life, Chipotle became like the place that had the greatest food in the history of the world. And it showed that you were just a wonderful human being by eating there.
Yeah.
And so like I sat there and I'm like, okay, I'm going to have one of these burritos because I've had like just normal burritos or Taco Bell burritos my entire life. I've enjoyed them.
Yeah.
This burrito for $10, this burrito better change my life. Like I would be like, how there's like BC and AD, like after the birth of Christ. In my life, there would be AB, BB and AB, a before burrito and after burrito. That would be my life. And I had it and I was like, this is nice.
Yeah.
Fine.
But not amazing.
It wasn't something that, again, changed my life. And if you're going to charge me that much money, again, with a movie.
And not give me free chips and salsa with it.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Because I think chips and salsa, really, it's almost like coffee. Like coffee, really, I think is free. Like if you see how many times like McDonald's pretty much goes, you can get like 400 gallons of coffee for like 10 cents.
$1, yeah.
Yeah. Then they're pretty much saying that coffee is pretty much free. Most things in life, I am willing to pay for quality. I have little to no money, but I am willing to pay for quality. There's been times in my life where I have paid a lot of money for like an ice cream sundae or a pizza or something like that. And I have sat there while eating it and gone, this is such a quality buy. This is such a quality thing. I am so excited that I made this choice to buy this $25 pizza. It's totally worth it. And then there are times when I've eaten a $25 pizza and I'm like, yeah, exactly. I can make this at home.
Yeah.
This was crap. So here's my advice to any restaurateur out there. If you want Mike Sasson's business, I will pay for quality. But if you're just going to give me something that's $15 just to say I paid $15 for a burger and it's not 3 times better than the $5 burger I can get at the fast food place, you can shove it up your ass. That's what I'm saying. That's Mike Sasson's like thing. You can shove it up your ass. All right, number 5.
Okay.
Pittsburgh is doing rather well. Western Pennsylvania needs some work. That's in traveling.
Okay.
In traveling around, I was just driving around Pittsburgh, and I'm always like, ooh, that's a cool church. Ooh, that's a cool thing. Oh, what a great view. All this kind of stuff. And then when I travel around like the outskirts into Western Pennsylvania and stuff like that, that's when I sit there and I go, wow, this place could use some work. But we're all needing some work. That's why we do all of our segments. We'll be right back. Coming back, we're going to be talking about lots of wonderful things. A teacher of merit, poop on you, all of your favorite segments on the Mike Sasson Show on the River's Edge. We'll be right back.
Your host of Gike's Got Game, 8 a.m. every Friday here on the River's Edge. I'll take a peek behind the sports media curtain, zoom out for the big picture, and as always, obsess over the details of the sports, teams, and players we love or love to hate. It's Gike's Got Game every Friday at 8 a.m. on the River's Edge.
Welcome back to the Mike Sasson Show. You're listening live at the River's Edge at www.riversedgepgh.com or live on 2 Minute Radio, or you're watching on Facebook Live, or you are listening on several of the podcast formats that we also broadcast from, the SoundCloud, the Google Play, or the iTunes. Coming up is the newest segment. It's like my newest child here on the Mike Sasson Show. It's called The Big Question, and it has its own theme song. Play it, Alex. Now, Alex, again, this is the big question. It's to dive into your subconscious and really examine what type of human being you are so that everyone listening and watching can truly know what's going on in the brains of Mike Sasson and Alex Clemens. Okay. Here's the big question.
I'm ready.
If someone could come to you and say, Alex, I will essentially make you God. You will control the universe. You can bring unlimited happiness, unlimited joy. You'll end hunger, end violence. Everything would be over. And it'll be all up to you, and it'll be because of you. And you'll know this. But pretty much all human relations that you have would cease to exist. Eventually, you'd live forever to the point to where your parents would pass, your sister, your brother, your boyfriend, everything like that would pass. You would have really no human interaction of any meaningful kind because no one could understand the massive amount of responsibility that you have as a deity. Would you take that deal?
No.
You would let violence and death and sadness all happen in the universe just to be able to hang out with your friends?
I would rather everyone work together to achieve that happiness and get rid of all of the, sad things in the world. I'd rather everyone work together than one person be in control of changing all of that.
So you'd be willing to, when you watch the news, you hear about something horrible happening, you would know that you would have stopped that would not have happened. But because of the fact that you did not want to end your human relationships with people.
It's not that I don't want to end my human. That's not the reason that I'm saying no.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying no because I don't think that then everyone's relying on that one person.
They
to
don't know what it
fix
is.
everything.
But here's the thing. They don't know.
Oh, you didn't say that.
They don't know it's you. They just live life and they're like, hey, everything's getting really a lot better.
Oh, well then yes.
So you would end all of your
If
relationships.
you're saying it's like a god that people would worship this god and that everyone
They would still worship God. They would ask the heavens to say, oh, please make it that this, this girl likes me. And you would say, boom, there, girl likes you.
I just don't think people should be doing that. I think people should just,
But you know,
work on it themselves
but
to
you-
make the world a better place.
okay. So
Instead of something just fixing it for them.
So you were sitting there saying you're the idea of a deity. You're saying you're not a big fan of. People should just be internal and
People
say, be
should
nice
just
to me.
be good people.
People should be good people and not have to rely on the universe or God or anything like that.
Yeah, in an ideal universe, people should just be good people and it should fix everything.
That's why you're Alex, but here's Mike. I would take on that
Yeah,
responsibility.
obviously. We didn't really have to ask you that question.
I would just not be able to live if I knew that every time I heard something awful happen or if somebody get beheaded or the world go into, people living in fear, living in, awful places, that I could have fixed it, but I didn't because I just had some sort of moral whatever. That's my thing. Again, that's why it's the big question. You answer the big question on Facebook Live. Would you want to be God, end all negativity, end all famine, end everything, but again, no more meaningful human interaction? Alex says no, she wants to have people work together, which again, not going to happen. I said I would take on said responsibility. I think you're getting into the minds of Alex and Mike.
You make me sound like a shit person.
Well, that's kind of the way it is. All right, that was the big question. And here's another big question. Who is the greatest thing of 2017? Of course, it's my voice that sounds like a movie trailer. But of course, it actually is Crappy the Poop in Poop on You. Alex has brought in Crappy. There is Crappy, the greatest thing of 2017, the symbol of 2017. He is dancing right now because he is a dancing poop.
He's always dancing.
It is Crappy the Poop. As always, Alex leads off with Poop on You. These are things, people that need to be pooped on to understand that their poopiness is no longer acceptable. Go on, Alex.
People who don't believe you when you tell them things and they should believe you.
Like what?
For instance, a woman called my store yesterday and she said, do you sell jerseys? I said, nope. She said, so you don't sell jerseys, like official jerseys? I said, nope. She's like, are you sure? I work here every day, lady. Yes, I am absolutely sure. What would I have said? Like the second time you asked, oh yeah, we do. We actually just got them in. Isn't that crazy? And people do this all the time to me. Like people ask me questions in the store or like just in general, and they won't believe me, but they'll believe like the person next to me. You know?
The thing that I always love is, again, when I worked retail, is exactly what you're saying. Is like, for instance, I would work at Sears. I'd be selling appliances. They'd call me up and they'd say, do you have XYZ washer and dryer in stock? And I'd go, no. And they'd be like, well, can you check the back? I check the computer. I go, no, it's not here. And she goes, are you sure it's not here? And I'm like, do you understand that I get paid to sell things?
Yeah.
And that
It would make my life easier.
if I could say yes, my life becomes great. You buy it, I make money, everyone's happy. But I have to say no, which actually hurts me. In no way do I get help by that. The other thing that always will happen is someone will come up to you and they'll say, hey, this television, I saw it the other day at $8.99. I go, yeah. They go, well, where is it? I go, it's out. And they go, what do you mean it's out? I go, it's sold out. We sold the last one. And they go, so you don't have any more? I'm like, yeah, that's what sold out
That's what
means.
that means.
That's what that means. I didn't understand. So just to understand, first off, when you go to a retail outlet and you talk to them, if you talk to them for more than like 5 seconds, you're ruining their day. You really are ruining their day.
Unless you're a nice person.
If you're a nice person and but if you're asking a question that it's just like, hey, 5-second question. Hey, does this shirt come in XX? Yes. Great. Or no. Oh, okay. Don't ask them to check the back. There's nothing in the back. They've been in the back like 40 times that day. They know exactly what's back there. Quit bothering people. I think you're basically saying one of the major tenets of my life, stop bothering people. So yes.
I think my main thing is that you receive the service that like you give. Like if you are a nice customer, I will be nice back to you.
One of the things that I've always said to people is if you come walking into a retail, there's so many times when I worked at Sears, someone would come in and be like, my washer and dryer broke and you're gonna fix this damn thing and blah, 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 blah. And I'd just be like, nope, no, I'm not. You're an asshole.
You don't want to help that person.
But if someone comes in and it's typically a nice old lady who would come in and say, dear, my washer is not working. Is there something? I would try to go out of my way to help that lady. If she was nice and she was sweet and she was like cool and everything like that, I would do things, and my manager would do things that actually weren't by the book, which is probably why the store isn't closed. His store is closed at this point, but that would help you out. So again,
what kind of crazy things are you doing that aren't by the book?
Hey, don't you wish you knew? Anyways, again, if you go to a retail outlet, just be nice to the people. Here's who I want to poop on. I want to poop on Donald Trump.
What?
Here's why.
No.
Show the pictures of Heidi Klum. She came out with a new book called Heidi Klum by Rankin. It's just a collection of naked pictures of Heidi Klum. And the reason why I wanted to bring this up is because if you remember last year, Donald Trump quoted saying, yeah, it's really sad that Heidi Klum is no longer a 10. Well, I'll bring it to the female of the group, Alex. How good is
I would definitely say she's a 10.
Yeah, I would say that's an attractive woman.
And she's like not, how old is she?
44 years old.
Yeah, so like
with 4 kids.
Yeah, if you can look like that when you're 44 and have that many kids, just good for you.
Good for you.
Definitely a 10.
Couple more pictures because I want to make sure everyone understands.
I think they get it.
Yeah.
I just been going back and forth, so you can.
Yeah.
I was really looking at these before the show.
The art, she is like physically a work of art.
I really like them too because they're not like your typical pictures. Like this one on the wall.
Yeah.
I don't know. You don't see many pictures of people in that position like on a wall. The people who are just listening to this right now are gonna be like, "What is she doing?"
Well, watch the show, watch it on Facebook. But she's poop on Donald Trump for not saying that's a 10. And also one of the things
who are you, Donald Trump, to say that?
Yeah,
God.
Donald Trump's like a low 2. Anyways, I would sit there and say poop on you for that, but also poop on society because to me personally, I think she came out with the book because after that quote, she wanted to make sure everyone understood that she's still an insanely attractive woman, so she got naked in books.
Yeah, why not? She can.
She can. She's
So,
holy crap.
more power to her.
Holy crap attractive. Do you have anyone else to poop on?
No, I'm okay.
I'm going to poop on the Chevrolet Corporation.
Oh, why is that, Mike?
Because I read an article on how they do those commercials where they have like the real people talking about their cars and stuff like that. And you've seen the commercials where they walk in, they go, this car has won 7 trillion awards, and everyone's like, holy crap, it's the most beautiful car in the world. I wish I could fuck it. Here's how they make those commercials. Essentially what they do is they say, oh, they're not real actors. But here's what they go and they find them in Los Angeles. And they find attractive people just walking around in Los Angeles. So guess what 80% of the people are? Models and actors. They're just not necessarily like ones that they vetted or anything like that.
Right.
So then they find these people, and because they're actors and actresses and models, or at least know them, they figure out real quick that if you want to make money in a commercial, you want a speaking role in it. So they know this. So when they show up and the guy, like literally they walk into like a big conference room and they look at it and there's a big truck, they know like, okay, I'm in a commercial. So what do they start doing? Saying amazing stuff about the car.
Yeah.
Because they want to get in the commercial because then they get residuals. So then they say, oh my God, this car, I'd pay $1,000 a day for the rest of my life just for the opportunity to sniff in it. It's like, they do that.
Is it just Chevrolet that does this?
I just read the article for that one because but I would suspect that there's probably similar things going on that, you kind of get the gist that if you just stay quiet or if you just say, yeah, it's a Chevy Malibu.
Cool.
Yeah. Then you're not, then you're not going to get in the commercial, meaning you don't get the residual checks. So poop on Chevrolet because obviously they know that's what's actually happening. And then they go, ooh, not real life actors. Again, Crappy craps on you, Chevrolet. Here is Crappy. Crappy will fly to Alex. Ugh.
Oh, jeez.
Hey, you caught it.
You
No
took
problem.
a hard fall on that one.
There you go. And we move on to where
I like how
we
you introduce
honor-
every segment like that in your different voice.
I know. I have
We
to
move on.
We move on.
Like you're a different person.
Yes. I'm now more of a respectful because we're talking about education and teachers of merit.
Okay. This one has its own theme song.
It does. They all have their own theme songs if you haven't watched the show for a while. This week's Teachers of Merit are out of Texas. It's the end of the school year, so I don't know if you had this at your school. The teachers give out awards.
Awards.
Now, here's the thing. They sometimes give out funny awards. Because if you know one thing about teachers, they're a hoot. Anyways, these teachers in Texas were giving out awards. One of them was to Sydney Caesar, and she gave out an award that said, most likely to blend in with white people. Yeah. Leave the comedy to the professionals, teacher. That's not a
I wonder
real
if they
good-
do these in front of the children.
They did. They had a big ceremony, and they gave out one of them. Another school in
It
Texas.
looks like a mug. She looks like she's holding it like it's a mug shot though.
She's holding it because she's incensed by the fact that the complete insensitivity of the teachers. Also, there was another one, Liz Villanueva, who got an award in Texas, most likely to become a terrorist.
Oh.
So, yeah, that wasn't real good. And then another one who in that same school, they gave out an award, most likely to become homeless. So,
I feel like that's not that bad.
Oh, now let me ask you a question. Did you receive any awards when you were in school like that?
Yeah, when I was in 5th grade, I was voted the quietest.
The quietest, and now you're
Which
on
is shit. That made me feel like shit.
See?
If I already wasn't quiet, now I'm gonna be even more quiet because you just voted me the most quiet. And now I feel like shit about myself. I'm just a loser that never talks to anyone.
Oh wow, we just opened up a wound right there. Now, did they mean it like you're just the most respectful and you're always, or just like you never talk? You should talk more.
That one.
Okay, the
Number
second
2,
one.
yeah.
Number 2. I won my senior year biggest eater. Which,
wow.
Again, I'm a big guy. I was the offensive lineman going to play college football. I get it. They said, oh, you're biggest eater. Here's what always ticked me off, though.
What?
Is the girl they gave it to was actually an attractive girl. They would never have done this did they give out biggest eater at Baldwin High School when you went to school?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I think they ended it because you can't give a girl in 2017 the award of hey, you're a big porker, you eat a lot of stuff. It was.
I don't know. I don't think that's I wouldn't be offended if I got
if
that.
someone said you're the big. I don't know.
It's not like they're calling you fat. They're just saying that you eat a lot of food. Doesn't necessarily mean that you're fat.
You wouldn't know any young girls when they're 17 years old if someone gave them an award in front of the entire senior class saying you eat the most, that there wouldn't be some girls that maybe would take that as an insult.
I wouldn't take it as insult. I don't know.
You personally wouldn't, but I think certain ones would.
Yeah, but they're not saying, hey, you're the fattest person in the school. If they said that, yeah, that's super offensive.
Well, that was someone else won that. But back in the day, they probably did give those awards. You're the fattest person in the world and everyone hates you. Here's your award. Go ahead.
Anyways.
So that was Teacher of Merit. Congratulations to those teachers. Again, I say this constantly. Leave the comedy to the professionals. Moving on to news and notes as we wrap up today's show.
Nope.
That's the same one from a previous one.
There we go.
Here's the new one. There you go. News and notes. These are stories that weren't enough to become a segment on their own, but we want to make sure you know of them. As you know, yesterday, Tiger Woods got pulled over for driving under the influence. Turns out that according to him, it was a bad reaction to medication. But one thing that I thought was funny was ESPN. It seems like a lot of people were saying, oh, they're trying to cover up for Tiger Woods. Because if you could see on the picture that we're showing on Facebook Live, they have his mugshot, which is now the most famous mugshot of 2017 by far. And on the other side, they show the picture that they showed on ESPN, and it looks like they fixed his hair. I think that's hilarious that and
He still looks like shit even if they fix his hair. Like
But-
that wasn't really the problem.
I know, but I mean, if you sit there and say, you know, someone's going to doctor your mugshot to make you look at least a little bit better, people were like going, oh, wow, ESPN is trying to cover up for Tiger Woods and make him look better. They should show him as a thing. It turns out that ESPN came out and said, no, we weren't trying to do that. It's just that the background we tried to use, it looked better if we like kind of cut out his hair and it, you know, the frizzy stuff. So we just made it like more aerodynamic. It had nothing to do with us trying to make it look better. But what is your reaction to Tiger Woods getting a DUI?
I don't really think it should do anything for anyone.
That was the reaction I had as well. But one thing I did want to bring up is someone posted this as the girlfriend of the year. A girlfriend gave her boyfriend a picture of her naked butt as a gift.
I want one of these for myself.
A picture,
Not that girl's butt.
not that
My
girl's
own
butt?
butt.
You want a picture of your? Would you like to sleep in a blanket of your own butt?
Like, how confident would that make you that you every night you go to sleep and you're like, damn, my butt looks good, you know? And every morning you wake up and you're like, that's my butt, and it's on a blanket.
There
Like
you go.
my butt is that good that I can put it on a blanket and it's totally cool.
Would that be the body part that you would use as saying that's the, like if you gave one to Zach, you'd be like, here's your butt. Would you go with the butt pillows? Would you go with the whole butt thing, blanket, but everything?
I would want it to be like actual size. I think I'd just have it be my whole body, but like actual size, you know, like
So you would sleep under a cover of your own naked body.
I would, yeah.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
That might be part of the merch of the Mike Sasson Show. But
That might be weird. Not sure if I'm up for that yet.
that would be an interesting birthday if you
That's
had like
the only thing that we have on the website.
Yes.
Is just a blanket of my naked body. That's weird.
Yeah. But the funny thing is Zach would be like, especially if it was like a birthday party with a lot of people and you're just like, here you go. And then you pulled it out like, oh my gosh. And you're
Oh my
just like,
God.
it's my naked body. There you go. But that would be the height of confidence. So you agree with the people that this was girlfriend of the year giving a picture of her naked butt to her boyfriend.
Yeah, I think it's an awesome thing to do.
Absolutely. Another awesome thing to do is we talked last week about sending nudes. Well, a woman posted this where a guy was kind of being a little bit of a jerk and asking for nude photos. So she goes, okay, here you go, and sends a picture that it looks like it's loading.
Which is just hilarious.
And the thing is that in the article that I read, she sent this 3 times. And she goes, I just sent it again. Is it good? Did you get it? Are you good? And the guy was like, no, something's wrong with your phone. Send another one. All this kind of stuff.
Like, I don't know if that's how on like iPhones if that's how your picture actually loads, but like on my phone, that is not how a picture would like show if it was loading.
Mhm.
That's not what would happen.
Okay.
So I'd be like, this is not real.
But if you took if you
But
somehow
that's
took a
good. It's
picture
funny.
of you, yeah. But again, if
I
you,
commend her.
I commend her, especially since if some, no, you should never demand a nude photo. I think that's wrong. You can ask and say, hey, if you have a nude photo lying around, it'd be awesome if you sent me one. But demanding a nude photo, the Mike Sasson Show says no on that.
Yes, I agree.
Now, one thing we do say yes on is being a presidential historian. And yesterday was John Fitzgerald Kennedy's, the 35th president of the United States. It would have been his 100th birthday yesterday. And there is a book coming out called Partying Like a President, in which it goes into the party lives of all of the presidents. Apparently, a lot of them were devious bastards, but none of them were like JFK. Here is a couple of the weird sexual things about JFK, because he might have gotten the most beautiful women in the modern history of the presidency. I think John Quincy Adams was like the JFK back then, and Abraham Lincoln got his fair share. But of the 20th century, it was JFK. First and foremost, he got to the point to where he had sex with so many women while he was in the White House, he forgot their names. So his code thing for like his guy friends to know like, hey, that was one of the ones that I got, was if he saw the girl and he would just come up to him and go, hello, kid. And then that would be how he like all the guys would know like, yeah, that was one that I got. Now let me ask.
Wait, he called the girl?
Yeah, like the
Kid?
girl would come up and just be like, oh, hi, Mr. President. He'd be like, hello, kid.
No.
That's a no. You would be upset.
I don't know. I don't appreciate when people call me kid.
You don't appreciate it, even if it was JFK
I
after
don't care
betting
who
you.
it is.
Yeah, you'd be like, "Don't call me kid,"
Yeah, that's exactly what I'd say.
and you'd shake your head. You'd be all sassy about it, like, "Don't call me kid."
Is this how you treat me after I slept with you?
This was 1961. Look what happened to Marilyn Monroe after they did that. Also, another thing is he would tell women they were on a schedule. Like he would get with a woman and say, "Okay, we have 15 minutes." And there was one story where a woman who was being bedded by JFK said he looked at his clock during the entire time. Because he sat there and said, "We have 15 minutes to do this." And he would just look at the clock while he was doing his business.
Don't think that's a bad thing. He's on a schedule. You should know that.
You would
He's
accept
got
that.
important shit to do.
Like if you were doing JFK, you'd be like you wouldn't be insulted. You're like, "Hey, you used to be paying more attention to me." No, you'd be like, "You know what? You're the president of the United States.
I understand you got shit to do.
You got shit to do."
And this is just one of those things.
Yeah, I'm shit to do. But another thing is he says if he didn't have sex every 3 days, he would get splitting headaches.
That's a lie.
You think that JFK was lying there?
Yes.
Now, he would tell this to anybody that would listen, even female staffers.
Yeah, obviously.
He would sit there. He told this to ambassadors. He would say this to all sorts of people. It's like, if I do not have sex every 3 days, then I get a splitting headache at all times.
Definitely not true, but I guess if you say it and you believe it, after a while, it would probably happen.
You think it'd become one of those psychosomatic things to where you would get...
Yeah, it's not necessarily like the reason that that's happening is because he's not having sex. It's just because he believes that.
Another thing is he would always have sex parties in the pool. Like he would have skinny dipping parties with the interns and stuff like that.
Sounds awesome.
And he would, one of the things though, is that he had a team of people that would scour the house looking for like hair braids and panties and all this kind of stuff to make sure that when Jackie came back and the kids would come back, there'd be no evidence.
That's awesome.
So
if I were him, I would hire people to do that for me.
Yeah, that's what being the president is about.
That's nice.
Another thing that I thought was interesting was there was a story from one of his mistresses that at one time he was smoking joints. He was in the White House. He had smoked 3 joints.
Okay.
Then the woman was lighting up a 4th joint. He went, "No. What would happen if the Russians did something right now?" Which I think is kind of weird because I think maybe he was getting a little paranoid. But if you've already smoked 3 joints.
That 4th one is that's what puts you over the edge.
Yeah, smoke the 4th.
No,
I
agree with him.
You're saying, you know what? It's responsible to keep the 3?
Yes.
Now, another thing was the fact
he was able to stop himself. I think that's a very, very good quality of a president to have.
Now, let me ask you this question. In the attractiveness scale of the U.S. presidents, would you say JFK is 1?
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely 1.
Yeah.
No, well, who's the 2nd?
I'm trying to think of, I don't know. People, they aren't really that attractive, you know?
Typically, you're saying presidents are not attractive.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
They're
not really my type.
I hear you. They got all jobs and stuff.
Yeah.
They don't have.
And they got rid of the beards.
Yeah,
and
they
stuff.
got no beards. I'd say if you look back on the days of like the bearded presidents, I think you'd find a couple that you'd like.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this question. If you found out that one of your grandparents had sex with JFK, that'd be pretty cool. I mean, like, let's be honest.
Obviously, that'd be pretty cool.
What level would you say that, like, because one thing that
I would tell everyone.
You would tell everybody. Like, that would be how you'd introduce your grandma. Like, this woman, she got with JFK.
Yeah.
What level of dude would you have to get with you to like, be that upfront with it? Would it have to be president of the United States?
No.
Like, what level? What level of guy? What profession?
I don't know. I'm not very, like, secretive about things.
So you would just
I would just tell everyone.
But even when you were like older, you'd be like, yeah, I had sex with the bass player from Foghat.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not that, but you know, I would tell people that.
Yeah. The guitarist from Maroon 5, that was me.
That's all my grandchildren have to look forward to.
It's just sex stories from grandma.
Yeah.
You know what? By then, I think that will be grandma level material.
Yeah, it'll be that's like appropriate by then.
See, I think when you're lying in your bed, that'll be like you're about to pass away, like you're in a tranquil place. The nurse will come in and be like, what would you like to say, Ms. Clemens? And you'll just be like, here's a list of all the guys I banged, and then you just pass away.
Yep.
That's how it works.
And my grandchildren write a book about all my sex stories.
There you go. Another story that they might write a story about is a study from a clinical psychologist from the Albanian University claims that eating fatty foods makes you gay.
Oh, right. That makes so much sense.
Their point was, in according to this person's study, is that in their minds, gay lifestyles used to be only of the upper crest. And the reason why is because they were the only ones that had access to fatty foods. So now that more normal people have it, that's why you become gay. Also, she said, if you go to a low-fat diet and cut out sugar, it can basically make it that you're not gay
Make
anymore.
the gay go away.
Yes.
This is literally the stupidest thing that I ever said, that I ever heard.
That's why the only reason I really wanted to do this story is A, it was really stupid because the headline was chicken nuggets make you gay, which I was like, okay, I have to talk about that. And then 2 was the picture, which I thought was funny because it was like these 2 happy people and they didn't know that in the middle of their happiness, they would be part of a story, which it was like, if you're fat, you're gay. And this guy's like having the happiest moment of his life. He just got married and now all of a sudden he's like, hey, Jim, isn't that you on your wedding day?
This is trending right now. Oh, jeez.
That's gotta stink. And one more story.
Okay.
Saturday Night Live this year.
Yeah.
Donald Trump, even though Donald Trump said it's a terrible show, people didn't agree, had its best ratings since 1994.
Wow.
Number one rated Saturday Night Live season in the last 23 years. So that was news and notes. We're going to leave you with a nice story about Roger Moore.
Okay.
We were on the air last week when the former James Bond actor passed away. And I thought that this was a cool story. And I wanted to share this with you. So a guy who's like now in his like mid-30s shared a story of a time he met Roger Moore at an airport in France. So he was like 5 or 6 years old. He had just seen his first James Bond movie. He was with his grandpa who had never seen a James Bond movie. So he sees Roger Moore waiting for a flight and he goes, Dad, Grandpa, whatever. Grandpa, that's James Bond. And Grandpa sits there and goes, oh, okay, whatever. Walks over to Roger Moore and sits there and says, my kid says you're James Bond. He should know you or something. You were in movies. And Roger Moore, having deal with this all the time, says, okay, well, I'll give you an autograph. But he signs Roger Moore. Hands it back to the thing and says, here you go. Thank you very much. The kid walks away, sees it, hands it to his grandpa and says, what does that say? The grandpa says, it says Roger Moore. And he goes, no, his name's James Bond. So he goes back to Roger Moore and he says, you didn't sign your name. You made up, who's Roger Moore? So Roger Moore sits there and looks at him and goes, let me tell you a secret. There are agents here at this airport. They can't know my true identity. You know my identity. So you have to keep it a secret. Can I trust it with you? And the kid goes, oh, of course, of course. He goes, so just between you and me, I'm on a mission. He walks away. The kid is obviously like, he's like, ooh, I met James Bond and he's on a mission and all this other kind of stuff. So about 30 years later, there's a UNICEF, a charity event in which Roger Moore is there. The guy brings it up and says, hey, Roger, I don't know if you remember this. At an airport back in France, you signed this and told the whole story. You said I was James Bond, and that really made my whole day because I was a kid, and I thought, hey, I'm with James Bond and all this kind of stuff. And Roger Moore sat there and went, it sounds like something I would do, but I really don't remember it, but that sounds like a great story. And he's like a little bummed and whatever like that. So then everybody leaves. Roger Moore comes up to him and whispers in his ears like, of course I remember that. But those people were agents of Spectre. And I could not have admitted that you knew that I was James Bond.
Aww.
The reason why I bring that up is, of course, Roger Moore did not have to do that.
Right.
He didn't have to say that to that kid at that point. And he also didn't have to bring it up again 30 years later and make the guy feel special again. And it comes back to your point where it says, you know what? This world would be a lot better if people would just treat people better. You know what? If you just kind of roll with the punches, be a nice guy, people tell cool stories about you when you die. Like how
That's
Alex.
the only reason to do it.
Yeah, like how Alex, would have had sex with JFK back in 1962 and would have been totally cool with the fact that he kept on watching his watch. But you know what's not cool? Missing the Mike Sasson Show. But you didn't do it. It's the Mike Sasson Show on the River's Edge. We'll be back next week. Again, you're listening to www.riversedgepgh.com. Listen to all the great local music. Had a great announcement yesterday. We're going to bring more local music news to the River's Edge. We'll be listening to that. So again, follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram. Lots of great pictures. Also, enjoy Heidi Klum's nudity because she is a 10. My name's Mike Sasson. That is Alex Clemens. We'll see you next week. Bye.